Welcome. This podcast is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is advised. Do not attempt to reenact anything you hear from this podcast. You're listening to Monty's Mysteries. We bring you true stories and experiences told by myself, Monty, and my guest host. From everything paranormal to legends and strange historical events, we share all things creepy. Turn out the lights, light a candle, and be transcended into the mysteries of Monty.
On Saturday night, we'll be visiting the most haunted house in Britain. But will the ghosts be there? Can you take it?
Ghost Watch, a Screen One special for Halloween, Saturday at 9:25 on One.
Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Devin. I am going to be the one hosting today since Monty is sick and her voice is completely gone. But today we're going to be talking about, honestly, one of my all-time favorite TV movies. It's called Ghost Watch, and basically what it was is, at the time, it came out in 1992 on Halloween, and before it released, it was marketed very heavily. They were basically telling everybody, tune in Halloween, and it was marketed as a live ghost investigation, and so they were following real celebrities going into, according to the BBC, it was Britain's most haunted house. But the thing is during the marketing, they made sure that basically to tell everyone that this was fake and it was 100% a drama. It was nothing real. But the way it was directed and the way it was written was actually, basically, I want to say it's like one of the pioneers of found footage. And it's honestly a cult classic. Not a lot of people know about Ghost Watch. So it takes place on Halloween night in 1992, and it aired on the BBC. It was said it was a live investigation, but it really wasn't live. It was actually pre-recorded about, I want to say, 3 weeks prior to it airing is when it was recorded. But the BBC said it was a live investigation, and everyone thought it was live, and they were actually there in the house investigating it. So they thought they were actually doing a live investigation, but it was actually pre-recorded. And they also had a live interaction thing for audiences. They had a number to the BBC for everyone to call to, like, basically explain if they saw something or saw any ghosts. And I think in my opinion, I think Ghost Watch was super ahead of its time. There was nothing like it at the time, and the way the writing and the directing was done is honestly phenomenal. The way they were able to trick audiences into thinking that it was actually something live that you were watching and you were partaking in is actually mind-blowing. So I give props to Stephen Volk, who was the writer, for being able to capture that, and the director Leslie Manning. So props to them on that. They also had celebrity guests. It was hosted by Michael Parkinson, and then it starred Sarah Green, Greg Charles, and fun fact, it also had Sarah Green's husband, Mike Smith, who was the one taking the phone calls. So basically you're following Sarah Green, who's going into the house, and the story around the show was actually based on the real Enfield Poltergeist. And if you don't know anything about the Enfield Poltergeist, it was a huge, controversy in England at the time. Not a lot of people knew if it was real or if it was a hoax, but it was something that hit the airwaves, and they had a huge documentary about it, a video documentary on the BBC, It was also a case that Ed and Lorraine Warren handled. So there's a lot about the Enfield Poltergeist, but basically it was the daughter of a family, a single mother. The youngest daughter was apparently possessed by some demonic entity, but to this day not a lot of people believe in it or know if it was 100% true. So Stephen Volk had the idea to basically write around that, write around that premise and see what he can do with it and put his own twist on it. So we start the show off and you follow Sarah Green into this house with a single mother and her 2 children. As she goes in, you see past videos that have been caught, and the spirit is essentially named Pipes because the mom told the kids that Pipes, basically the noises and stuff they were hearing were the pipes moving. So every time something spiritual would happen, the 2 daughters would say, "Oh, Pipes has arrived." And throughout the entire film, you just see everything slowly progressing and getting worse and worse as time goes by. And Pipes, it's kind of cool too. Like, they don't. The thing I like about Ghost Watch, and I think not a lot of horror films or anything horror can do nowadays, is they're able to actually scare people without relying on jump scares. Like, throughout the whole 90-minute runtime, you see Pipes in the background a total of 13 or more times. It still has not been fully proven how many times Pipes pops up in frame, but if you keep an eye out, you will see him. And the thing I love about this is they don't point him out at all. And when they do point him out, he's there and then he's gone, and they just brush it off like, oh, it must have been a technical glitch, which goes along with the whole live viewing experience. And I think it's cool. And I really wish I was alive and in England when this happened, because I think it was absolutely one of a kind and one of the greatest moments in TV history, I want to say. And it's also a great moment in horror history. Like, it paved the way for, the Blair Witch Project, which of course everyone here in America thought was real. The Blair Witch went on to massive success, and then Paranormal Activity as well, which was also a huge success here in America, which actually spawned a franchise and had about 6 of them. But anyway, enough about that. So after Ghost Watch had aired, not a lot of people were paying attention to, the magazine it was featured in. They weren't paying attention to the radio ads, the TV ads. They just weren't paying attention at all. So when it aired, they had no idea what they were watching. They thought they were watching a totally live investigation of a house that was infested with spirits. So when people were watching it, they actually got super terrified, and there were children who watched it, and that caused parents to actually call up the BBC number, which caused the switchboard to crash at the BBC. Meanwhile, as all this is going on, the actors and celebrities who were a part of it, they were actually watching it live in studio. It wasn't live, but they were watching it and they were having a great old time laughing, and basically, we succeeded in doing what we wanted to do. So they're laughing, they're having a great time, and they're just listening to the phones going crazy, and then the switchboard breaks. So what happened with the switchboard is the switchboard actually carried a message on it saying that the program they're watching is completely, fictional and wasn't real, and to not be super creeped out about it because it's all fake, it's all a drama. But when the switchboard crashed, that message also crashed with it. So people were calling in, they weren't getting that message. They thought this thing was 100% legit. They were terrified. They were super pissed off that the BBC would air something like this. And parents were just livid. They were like, you scared our children. Our children can't sleep now. And just a ton of other stuff. And it's also this is actually, in my opinion, this is crazy cool. Other people, it may not be cool, but Ghost Watch is actually the first ever program in history to be the cause of PTSD for, like, anyone. So a lot of people who had watched Ghost Watch had PTSD because of, at the time, how terrifying it was. And looking back on it now, like, when you watch it, go and watch it, you can see why people got scared, because honestly it was way ahead of its time. It was very atmospheric. It wasn't, just in your face all the time. It was more of genuine scares, and I think that's where it succeeded very, very well, is how it tackled everything and how realistic it was. I think it did a very good job at doing that. And so Ghost Watch was basically a huge controversy. The BBC didn't really want to talk about it after it aired because there was so much controversy behind it. And one of those controversies was a teen who became obsessed with Ghost Watch. He was 18 and he would watch it 24/7 trying to figure out what was going on. Like, he wanted to know everything about Ghost Watch because he believed it was real. His name was Martin Denham. He was an 18-year-old. He got obsessed with Ghost Watch. He wanted to figure out what was going on. He wanted to know if ghosts were real. And basically, it drove him to the point where he ended up committing suicide. And on his suicide note, he said, "If there are any ghosts, I will be with you always as a ghost." And so his parents saw that and they blamed Ghost Watch for it, which caused even bigger controversy. And so the BBC basically banned it. They banned Ghost Watch for 10 years, and they didn't talk about it. They didn't do anything with it. It wasn't like something they would air on Halloween anymore. It was just one thing, and then it was lost in time. And a lot of people were selling black market copies. They would take their VHS tapes that they had, that they recorded Ghost Watch with, and then they would go and sell it on the black market for around $50 to $60 because it was something that, you couldn't watch anymore. And it was banned for that 10 years, so if you wanted to watch it again, you couldn't watch it at all. And then BBC ended up releasing a DVD copy of it on its 10-year anniversary. And after that, it basically, still the BBC doesn't really talk about it. I think they've only aired it twice since its premiere. But they don't really like talking about it because of all the controversies that came with it. If you want to watch it now, you can, of course, order the DVD, but it is region locked, so you will have to have a region-free Blu-ray player or whatever. But the best way to watch it is on the Internet Archive. You can watch it completely free online. And if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest watching it. It is a great, like, spooky, nice, atmospheric TV film. It's something that I watch around every year during Halloween. I try to watch it every single year because it's just something that is so underrated, and it's something that is so ahead of its time, and a lot of people, just brushed it off, and not a lot of people know about it, so it's nice to go back and watch it and appreciate it for what it was. As for Stephen Volk, the writer of this, he still works in horror. He's written a couple of horror projects. He also did a TED Talk on Ghost Watch, which was pretty awesome. And after you watch Ghost Watch, I highly recommend listening to his talk because the dude did something absolutely amazing. And I appraise him for what he did with Ghost Watch and everything he basically put his heart and soul into this. And in the end, it ended up backfiring, I guess. But at the same time, it didn't, because he accomplished exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to scare everyone. And he ended up scaring the whole, everybody in England on Halloween night in 1992. So yeah, I recommend giving Ghost Watch a ghostly watch on the Internet Archive. And I also think Scream Factory should give us a, nice little remastered Blu-ray copy of it, because that would be absolutely amazing. But yeah, until next time, peace.
To have one of your personal experiences featured in an episode, contact us via email at montysmysteries.podcast@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, and Twitter as Monty's Mysteries, where we will keep you updated on upcoming episodes. Thank you so much for all of your support. Stay spooky.